Hey guys, how you doing? Luna here with a new video. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to hop on camera and talk about a topic that in my opinion is really interesting. The other day I was in my room listening to Mount Era's 2017-2016 album, A Crowd Looked at Me, one of my favorite albums from last decade. I wanted to make a video on it because in my opinion the lyrical content of this record is so intense and so real that it deserves for me to give a full review of the album on a video I'm planning to do next week or the week after that. If you've heard the album, you know how utterly depressed Phil sounds in every single one of these songs. There's so much despair around, but also a sense of acceptance that, in my opinion, makes the album a beautiful experience, even if, you know, on the first listens, it can be kind of hard because of how unapologetic Phil is at the time of depicting all these scenarios where it's been 4 days since his wife passed, 15 days, a month, 2 months, you know, when you get to go on this journey with him to accept and come to terms with the fact that the person he loved is no longer with him. It's not that you feel related to him, or hopefully you don't feel related to him in any of these scenarios. It's just that it's so real that only the thought of it happening to you can be enough to make you, you know, be sad. And I was listening to this album so I can have a fresh memory on the record before writing down all the notes and making the video about it, right? But my sister came back from work early, and if I listen to my music on speakers, I don't really use headphones because in my opinion a speaker is the ultimate way for you to enjoy music. So every time I want to listen to an album to write down notes for a video, like I'm actually doing research, I want to make sure I get the best out of the record, and for that I use a speaker. You know, the way it bounces off the walls is something you just don't get when you use headphones. My sister was eavesdropping a little bit on the lyrics of the album, and she literally was concerned about me, and she texted me saying, "Are you okay?" Because, again, guys, I'm going to put a few lyrics here and there so you guys can understand how intense the album is. Like, we're not talking about a pretty sad type of TikTok music that we're all used to because of this, you know, modern age of music and social media. Like, when I say sad, I'm talking about despair, about being numb, about not being able to feel anything due to the overwhelming despair that fills your body. I'm not talking about Coldplay's Fix You type of sad or Radiohead's No Surprises kind of sad. You know, I'm talking about actually someone not knowing what to do with all the negative emotions that cloud his mind. And for that reason, my sister obviously was like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? And the thing is that I explained everything to her. I explained to her the content of the album, saying, hey, well, he's basically telling the story and aftermath of his wife's death and how it affected him and his daughter, and that's pretty much the lyrical content of the record. And my sister literally looked at me like, why did you enjoy that? Like, why? How can you enjoy someone being miserable? And that sentence kind of stuck with me. You know, how can you enjoy someone being miserable? Because for me, I've always listened to this type of music, things like Lingua Ignota, The Swans, music that is literally meant to be depressing, Hank Williams, Nick Drake, songs that are not really trying to tell a story, or songs that don't necessarily try to make you feel related to the story. It's basically them explaining the reasons why they are or were miserable. How can I, as a fan of that artist, enjoy that? Another example of my sister being concerned by my music taste would be Sinner Get Ready by Lingua Ignota, an album where she dives deep into her connection with religion, and, you know, obviously there's a lot of trauma that clouds the album. The performances are so intense. I'm probably going to put a few examples of the type of lyricism this album contains, and my sister, being religious, obviously was just incredibly shocked by what I was listening to. The thing is that I started to actually meditate about what she was saying. Why is it that I enjoy this type of music? You know, if you are sad, why would you enjoy more sadness? Like, isn't that supposed to do the, you know, the opposite of what you're trying to do? You're trying to cheer up. Why don't you listen to cheerful music? And I thought so much about this that for a moment, you know, it was only like a couple of minutes, but for a moment I was kind of convinced that this, you know, trend of listening to sad music when you're sad is actually toxic behavior by us listeners, you know, because we should try to cheer ourselves up, but we're definitely not going to do that listening to a Joy Division album. However, when I thought about it even more, I realized something, and it's that most of the times when I'm sad or when I'm just annoyed and when I don't really want anything from the outside world, I want to lock myself in my little bubble. What I want isn't really for someone to try and cheer me up. I want someone to just sit there and acknowledge the way I feel. You know, I want someone that understands understands why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, and that is exactly why you listen to this sort of music. It's like you like the fact that someone is going through hard times too, not because you want that person to go through the same things as you're going, because I'm pretty sure that every single person that's watching this video that has struggled with depression doesn't want anyone else in the planet to go, to go through that. It's more like you feel this connection to that person because they're going through the same situations as you're going, or they're feeling the same way as you're feeling, even if it's through different means, and that gives you some sort of comfort. So when I listen to a Joy Division album, I may not be having a bad day, but if I am, I feel like I'm connected to the music at a different level, because now I can relate or understand or be in the same wavelength as the music or as the artist that created the music. Personally, when I listen to A Crowd Looked at Me, I don't really see Phil as a real person until the album ends. And actually is when I'm talking about the album, when I'm talking about all the terrible scenarios that Phil had to go through when in the process of overcoming his wife's passing. One of the most traumatizing experiences one can have. Imagine you find the person you love and then that person just goes away with no goodbyes, with no nothing. They just are not there anymore, which is the reason why songs like Real Death hit so hard after it ends, because you realize, because we're too used to see death in the movies and in TikTok and all these tributes to people, that we think that death is this higher thing that happens when someone goes to a different plane. But in actuality, when it happens to you, you realize that it's just that person not being there anymore. Not when they go away to a different country, not as if they're just right next door. No, they literally don't exist in the same plane as you exist. And that for me just leaves a void in my in my mind that I can't explain, and that only hits after I've listen to the song, not while I'm listening to the song. So I guess the best answer to why people enjoy sad music for me would be, I think, one, we feel connected to the music. That's the reason why when we're sad we go and listen to sad music. It's because it feels like someone is acknowledging the way we feel. The other thing is that we don't really see it as a real person having a real experience. For a lot of us, it's the same as watching a movie or watching a piece of art, and art imitates life, so watching it unfold is really interesting. It's attention grabbing, and for that reason I feel like a lot of us also enjoy this sort of music. So that's the answer I came up with, and after that, believe it, I've been listening to the craziest fucking types of music I could find, because talking about this whole thing makes me realize how many different emotions music can give you, and why I decided to do what I do, YouTube, because even though I'm not getting paid, basically, I'm not earning anything from this. I continue to do videos because the interaction I have with you guys, every time someone leaves one of those big comments, you're giving their opinion on a track or sharing their own experiences with the songs, I personally find that to be super interesting and super enjoyable, knowing that there's people out there who enjoy music as much as I do. So for that reason, I'll continue to make these videos. I actually going to make an Elvis Presley special next week, so if you guys want to see that, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I really do hope you enjoyed this video today. I know it's a different kind of video. It's more like a podcasting kind of thing, me talking about a topic that I found, I found it to be interesting. Personally, I would like to make more videos like this, but I don't really have the time. I have to upload 2 or 3 videos a week every, on this channel to make sure I stay consistent, and it's really hard to squeeze in one of these videos that are basically me just talking about something that happened the other day. But if you guys enjoyed it, then make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other videos that I upload. If you want me to talk about a specific song, if you want me to check out a certain artist or review an album, go ahead as well and leave it down below in the comments, and I'll make sure to fulfill your request as soon as I can. With that being said, once again guys, I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that I can see you soon with a new video. But until then, bye.